2,000 years later, still, there are many who set out to disprove the actual resurrection of Jesus Christ. There have been many attempts made in history where men and women have set out to study the entire resurrection theory and story to disprove that Jesus Christ did not rise from the dead. There was one specific man called Dr. Frank Morrison. He was an advertisement agent and also a writer. He had been brought up in a very rationalistic environment in a family, and he had come to a place where he wanted to disprove clearly and for sure that Jesus Christ and his claims of resurrection were a fabrication of man's imagination. So this man, Dr. Frank Morrison, set out to write a thesis and study the last 7 days of the life of Jesus, just so that he could prove to his audience that there was no resurrection that actually happened. What happened was, as this man, Dr. Frank, started studying the facts and began to go through all the evidences that had been there to the actual claim of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, he actually began to himself be convinced that what was in front of him was an undisputable, clear evidence that Jesus has indeed risen from the dead. So basically what he did was, the book that he intended to write was a book that was supposed to disprove the resurrection of Jesus Christ. But as he studied it to do it, he actually saw overwhelming evidence that said Jesus Christ had indeed risen from the dead. So he changed the title of his book to "Who Moved the Stone?" ? That was the title of the book. And in the first chapter of that book, you can even look it up today, and I think you can actually get a PDF version of it on Google if you look for the person I'm talking about, Frank Morrison. The first chapter of the book that he titled was "The Book That Was Refused to Be Written." That was the first chapter. It's because as he studied the evidence that was there for the resurrection of Jesus Christ, he could not ignore the truth that was staring him right in his face.